Woo.
Hey, that's live for you, man.
That is, hey, welcome, Saturday Night Live. No delays here. Straight into it. No censorship. Unfiltered.
And filter, baby. We're keeping it real. Keeping it
Awesome.
real.
So happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
I know.
It's been a while.
It's been a moment. Welcome to everyone tuning in. As always, we'll give it a moment. I'll post this on our YouTube channel as well. We have a Design Unfiltered YouTube channel, and all previous episodes live there, which hopefully is really handy. Some great episodes, some great little bits and pieces we've cut out of episodes and put on there too. It's a really handy reference point. You can fire one up, play it in double time, get some insights. That's always handy.
We can sound like we're on helium, you know?
Yeah. Love that. Maybe just to mess with people, we will do an episode where we do use helium so that when they do speed it up, only your dog can hear it. And your cat. But yeah, we are stoked to be here. It's been quite a summer. We had an amazing in-person summer event, IRL, on the MasterCard rooftop. We'll put a video out of that in the coming days. We just have like a little video cut of it, just a highlight reel. But it was such a great event. MasterCard rooftop, Fifth Avenue, cracking day, beautiful weather. Will, Randy, and Jess were our speakers. Erica moderating, did a phenomenal job. Your questions were fire. They were so good. We had, 50-ish people there?
No,
50,
like 75.
75 was there in the end. Damn. Okay. Yeah. And it was all around AI. It was about using AI. It was about how these companies are integrating AI into their workflows, maybe how it's showing up. Yeah, I learned a lot that day as well about who's doing what. I also learned like who hasn't figured out things yet, which is probably a good theme to touch on too. It's a lot of talk about it, but no one's figured it all out yet for designers, and that's okay.
I know. I love that. I love that it was like a panel of, experts, like people that are, doing it and they're involved in it pretty heavily. But even they were just like, nobody's an expert yet. Like it's still pretty nascent. So that was like a really huge takeaway that I had, which is that, people are still learning. So it just feels like a really ripe time to get into it and jump in when nobody's an expert. So
totally,
it kind of make it your own.
It is the time. Yeah. Randy in particular, who's over at Notion as the head of design, made a comment at one point. I remember the question was like, what tools are you using there internally? What is the design team using? And I feel like his answer, if I'm remembering correctly, was kind of like all of them. We're just kind of using them all, and we have a bit of an open-ended like experiment, play, explore. We're not locking you into a set of tools and a particular workflow. Instead, we're empowering you to figure out any way, the best way, a great way, a fun, whatever it might be, to use this tooling. So I love that stuff. But yeah. We should invite everyone to say good day. Zach's reminded me.
I was like, is it working?
Yeah.
Where is everyone calling in from?
Yes. Sweet. Zach.
Yeah.
Damn. Good to see you, mate. Traveling through Europe and Sweden, 7 p.m. Not a bad time.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome. Yeah. If you are there, if you're listening, you want to jump in the comments and say, where you are in the world, share anything that you like.
Yeah, we'd love to see who's here. And this is also just super interactive, right? So Design Unfiltered, this is a live stream. So, we'll be talking about, what we're seeing in the market and just in design hiring and recruiting and just, trends and things like that. But, the main purpose of this is for you guys to ask your questions. So we take your questions live in the moment. You have 3 extremely experienced and amazing design recruiters here.
Very humble.
And actually, and what's so interesting now, what I really like about this kind of setup now is that Erica and I are both our own independent, third-party recruiters. We work with multiple clients. Jared was that until recently, and now he's gone in-house at Shopify.
Yes.
So now we have kind of like everybody kind of, we got the in-house recruiter now and then the agency recruiter. So I think that's going to be like a nice mix of perspectives too.
Totally. Yeah. I hope I can bring that perspective. I'm 3 maybe 4 weeks in to Shopify. Definitely getting like trial by fire of seeing it on the inside. So it's awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to share all my experiences there and anything that might empower a designer to understand, their application process better, or even just what I'm seeing, and this will be a topic. Yeah, go.
Are you already working on like live roles, or are you sort of still unpeeling?
I have about 40 open roles currently.
Oh, geez.
40, 40.
Approximately, yeah.
Woo,
Did you
trial by fire.
onboard?
Nice.
Did I onboard? Yeah, I did some onboarding. Yeah.
3 days.
Got an email address. No, they're awesome. Lots of setup, but similar to you guys, I just want to get in and go a lot of the time. So if anything, I was encouraged, by the awesome supportive team in talent. Like, hey, it's all good. Like, just get your systems up and running, get your workflows dialed in. I was like, why do that when I can get too far ahead of myself and then regret it later? But yeah,
I love it.
Good advice.
I love it.
Oh, New York City.
Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Nice to have you.
Hi,
here.
Leslie.
San Francisco. Oh, amazing. Hey, Leslie. Good to
Dennis
see you.
and Andy from New York City. Payal. Hi. Nice.
Love that.
Richard Scott.
Thank you all.
Leslie Hampton, you've been a regular Design Unfiltered attendee. It's nice to see you again.
Love that. Super helpful.
And Jocelyn. Great. So should we start with a question of the day to get things rolling?
Yeah, hit us. What is it?
Okay. Well, this is your question, actually.
Oh, no.
What? You don't want to answer it?
Go ahead.
Okay. What's an app that you use that you like? Either you think it's got like great design, or it's just like it just does its job well. It's not super fancy, but it just gets the job done and you like it.
Yeah. This came up because it is often an interview question from companies. I'm sure you've probably had it before. I bet all the designers in the chat here have probably been asked this in an interview at some point. What's a favorite app? What's an app that you're into? In fact, I don't see it much anymore, but there used to be an interview stage where you do a paired app critique with maybe a designer from the company that you're interviewing with. You would select an app and then you'd critique it with them and pick it apart maybe. And yeah, so, designers should have an opinion on apps. It is
hot tip.
But yeah, it got us thinking a little bit too. I personally was having a moment of trying to think, what do I think is my most like visually fun app, aside from maybe functionality or me trying to get something done? I was trying to think like, do I have an app on my phone that I think is just like stunning? I look at it and go, oh, who designed this? I want to look this up. This is badass. But I also like really dislike even having a phone some days. So yeah. So yeah, I tried to arrive at that one. For me personally, some of the aesthetics that I really like, I would say Cosmos, I think, is one, which is for lack of a better explanation, a bit of a Pinterest-esque style app, an inspiration kind of app, a creative app of going through and saving and creating folders and things like that of things that inspire you. So I think it's pretty slick. A good old classic is VSCO, the camera app. Visco, some people call it, or VSCO. It's you can use it to either take your pictures or you can edit. It's famous for a lot of its filters, and it's more plays into like more film photography style. So it's not like a Photoshop per se, but it's more like applying filters and making things look classic and other sorts of stuff. But it's always had a great design. But personally, over the last little while, I feel like it's gotten a little bit more confusing to use.
You're making updates, improvements.
Yeah, and it's like, I just wanted to kind of drop this in and do a quick filter, and now it feels like I've got to click this thing 15 times to get there. But yeah, so I'd love to hear what other people are into, what apps they think are great.
So this is a question for everybody, so feel free to drop your favorite app in the chat.
Do you have? Do you guys have one? Anything you're vibing on the spot?
I can say,
Yeah.
I've been looking for fitness apps
Hmm.
Mhm.
lately, and I've done a lot of trials and such. I really like doing my own like training in my own gym, like without classes and such. Um, so one that I really like actually is Ladder.
Okay.
I think I was talking to Zach about this. They are, it's just really easy. Like the sign up was really like um, seamless, I think. I was able to sort of explain
Hmm.
what I had in my gym to access and then kind of what my goals were. And then I think the
Nice.
biggest thing is it, you know, integrates with my watch. And then also, if I'm doing an exercise, like my music can sort of dim, I guess, dim,
Okay.
Mhm,
quiet,
mhm,
quiet,
mhm.
where it is.
Yeah, I
And I
gotcha.
can hear like what I'm supposed to be doing, and then it kind of goes back. So they like, I just think it was like really well thought out. And they also, I can, um, I don't know, it's a widget. So I added it to my home
Hmm.
screen on my phone and it's
Hmm.
a whole calendar. So it's really like motivating me to not skip a day.
Love that.
Because I can see
Okay.
exactly like, I've done 5 days this week, I need to do like, or whatever it is. So I'm really enjoying that. And it's very affordable. So
Okay.
Nice.
So cool. Makes me wonder, like, okay, what design are there? Are they thinking about behavior change? Are they thinking about
yeah.
these habits they want their users to form? Who came up with the widget? Like, yeah, I always want
Yeah.
to know
It's
that
great.
stuff. That's
Mm,
cool
mm, mm.
to hear that.
And
Got
Anthony
one?
wrote in
Oh, yeah.
the oh yeah, I'm just kind of calling out what people wrote. Anthony Enos at All Trails.
Yeah.
That is
I've
a good
heard that.
one.
Yeah.
Zach Omio, is that how you pronounce it? OMIO, Omio for
Mm.
travels and trains in the EU. God, the
Cool.
EU and travel, man, you guys are so far ahead of us in the States. Like, wow. Um, the apps that I'm into are, I think I'm using like probably 10% of their functionality, but I
Yeah.
them.
Probably.
They're like biometrics ones. So there's
Yeah.
one called Fasty, which is I'm experimenting with intermittent fasting. I actually did a
Mhm.
36-hour fast this weekend.
Wow.
Thank you. I know, which I didn't think I could do, but I had to like tear through my taxes on Saturday. And I
Jeez.
was
That's
so
intense.
focused and I was like cleaning out drawers that have been junk drawers forever. I was like, okay, it's like a natural like methamphetamine, apparently.
Yeah.
It's like pretty amazing. So this is the Fasty app. So it's just showing
Okay.
you like how long
Nice.
your eating window is. So I'm doing like 16 hours fasting, 8 hours feeding
Mhm.
window. Isn't that just a terrible thing when you like a cattle in a barn? Um, so that one I like. And then there's also one called Try Dry, which is
Hmm.
it tracks how much you're like drinking alcohol.
Ah.
And so, I'm
You don't
not,
have to show us that one. No, I'm just kidding.
I know there's lots of sober days in there.
Okay.
But what I like about it is if like it just helps if I'm just like, okay, like maybe I just want to like limit it to like once or twice a week, and then it's like a really
Mhm.
easy way to see what I'm doing. And it's just very motivating, like to see all
Yeah.
that yellow there, and you're like, oh, I'm killing it, and then my workouts are better. And
Sleep.
anyway, it's just
Love that.
yeah,
There's a healthcare sort of thing that we're all doing, it seems like.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
It's
It's true.
nice to remind, just to appreciate this great design, like what goes in to designing these products. Yeah, I definitely, it doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That we
Especially if
know.
they help your life in like a significant way and like even like a subtle way, but it's just something that you can use daily or regularly. Like it just, yeah, it just ameliorates your life. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Where do we feel design's at right now? What's happening? Let's catch people up. It's been a couple of months since we have been on this, but we've been all heads down working. The work has continued.
Yeah.
But yeah, any sentiments, any feelings on the market, on the industry right now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to say or to start, I
Mm,
think that we've
Mm,
definitely had a switch, a bit of
mm,
a major increase in hiring for design. I'd say 6 months ago, 12 months ago was quite a different story. Um, I obviously hang out in the very early startup world, so I'm definitely seeing
Hmm.
every refresh I do. There's someone else is hiring, or another hiring manager is posting to their network they're hiring
Hmm.
multiple roles, that they're doing headcount. Um, so I do feel like we're in another big burst, which is great.
Yep.
But I do also recognize that it's quite difficult still for some people who've been out of work for a long time, and I think we can talk about like some of that later. But I am seeing definitely an increase.
An uptick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I am
positive.
too. I am too. I think a good measure of health is like how much inbound I'm getting. So as a third
Mm.
party recruiter, a lot of what we have to do is like new business and reaching out to potential clients and introducing ourselves, or, word of mouth is obviously the best way to do it. But if we're getting referrals to us, or people just like finding us and coming to us without being prompted, that's always a nice thing.
Yeah.
And I think shows like a good amount of health. I also think that the roles that are coming to us are paying pretty nicely. I feel like there was
Mm.
a time when, like a year ago, when things were a lot leaner, that I felt like the jobs that were coming in were maybe paying a little bit below market. A lot of them had design exercises attached to them. So when it's a down market for designers, I feel like the clients will sort of do some things that maybe they couldn't necessarily do when it's a really right
Mm.
market for designers, right? So,
Yeah.
for instance, 2022, which was such a right market for designers, the designers were just having their pick of the litter and they were getting like 5 or 6 offers at once. There was just all those speed bumps that were a barrier
Hmm.
to entry to get somebody over the finish line were just pretty much dissolved in a lot of cases, or for clients that were just, reading the market correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing they're still there. Like, we have a mix of clients that do have it and some that don't. But we're seeing a little bit of a downtick in that, I would say,
Mm.
which is,
Mm.
I think, generally positive for the market. What else? What else?
I, f- I
Yeah.
feel like on some of that front too, I would say in the last couple of months, and I've only been at Shopify for a moment, but before that it was, business as usual, working with a whole multitude of companies and having these conversations. And there was a few weeks in a row there where it was like I'd be hearing from companies every other day wanting to hire designers, and I'd connect with them and I would speak with either a founder or a design leader or something like that, and they'd describe the kind of designer that they would want, and 9 times out of 10 it would be very similar to everyone else.
Mm,
A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people were kind of looking for a very similar type of designer, and then anytime variance came into that with things around salary or their interview process, and if that salary and interview process were not very competitive, it felt really simple for me to say back to that company, like, hey, I've heard from 3, 4, 5 others in the last, few days looking for this same thing, but your salary is significantly lower than theirs. Like, why will a designer come and work for you and not for them? Your interview process is twice as long, twice as hard. Why will a designer do that instead of going maybe this potential path of least resistance? Like, I think enough competition is coming in, the demand for design is increasing, and it's an opportunity to put it back on those companies and sort of say, well, what you're doing is maybe not as competitive. What would you like to do? Would you like to bring that salary up to
Yeah.
a competitive range, or just getting on the field? Is there a different way that you can get signal in the interview process where you can get through it a little bit quicker, where maybe you can remove steps or tasks that are not really widely accepted by the community? So
mhm.
yeah, and thankfully there was a handful of companies there that were somewhat receptive to that. That was somewhat like, okay, well, yeah, what can we do? Like, how well, they always have a pitch about why someone might want to work there, but if that delta's too big, it's a
Mhm.
tough sell. You know how it is. You got one designer, they got 3 interviews. 2 interviews are at 200K, as a
Yeah.
senior staff level designer, and one interviews with another company, same type of role, for 120 or 140. It's
Mm,
too big a gap.
yeah. Yeah.
If they got those offers, if they got all 3 offers, like, yeah, it's pretty tough sell to take $60,000 less. Like,
Right. Right. I know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a big part of our jobs as,
mm,
third party recruiters, and probably in house too,
mm,
is to really educate the client. Like, what is what is standard out there, right? And like, what's the best way to get the talent that you want based on your budget, based on what your selling proposition is, all those kinds of things, right? And for us to even decide, like, hey, is this even placeable? Like, can we fill this role? Like, if we don't think that it's placeable, then we won't take it on, right?
Right.
So.
You work with a great real estate agent, and they're going to help advise you on the price of your, they'll have market research, they'll have information, and they'll try to help you arrive at a good competitive price that's going to get your house sold, get the goal achieved. If you come back and say, oh no, I want twice as much as that, a great real estate agent was probably just go, good luck to you. Try it yourself.
Right.
They know with confidence that we can't sell your home at that price. It just doesn't have that value on the market. Yeah. So, that's our role, is to advise that, to share that information back to companies. And now with this uptick, there's a better reason to listen. It's still optional whether they listen or not, but they are.
Yeah,
definitely.
I remember having like our little powwow before we went live, and Jared, you were talking about what clients are looking for in terms of AI skills. You want to share some of that? Because I thought that was super salient and great.
Yeah, it sort of harks back a little bit to, I think, what Randy mentioned in our IRL session. Like, there's no hard and fast, you must know this tool, you must know that tool, you have to have this. But what I'm seeing, and what I will say specifically for Shopify, whether I can say it or not, I don't know, I'll ask permission later. But it's a must-have. You must have knowledge of AI tooling within your toolkit. And I think as a designer, that shows up in so many ways. This AI tooling is coming. It could be your research partner. It could be Gen AI. Where I think for product designers, it's showing up a ton is jumping into things like cursor and vibe coding. It's that ability to kind of bridge the gap closer to engineering. One use case that I'm finding for designers now, there would be a time when you design something, you send it off to engineering, it gets built, maybe it comes back, you check it, you say, oh, the spacing's off, the padding's off, you send it back, they're supposed to fix it. With the way that things are going, it's like, that doesn't really need to happen anymore. That designer, through Claude Code, through any of these different sort of AI tools, should be able to fix that issue themselves and push that code live and actually push that update and have things go out, have those details be correct, have everything designed as should be, having that go live. And those lines are getting blurred. So AI usage, I think, is becoming table stakes. And in lieu of like saying, here's how I did it in my workplace, showing play, showing exploration, showing side projects. I've spoken to so many design leaders who are making hiring decisions, and they love side projects. They love just seeing it. Even in some cases, from interview 1 to say interview 3, if there was a 2-week time frame between that, and that designer vibe coded something in that time, or just whipped something up on their own, kind of push themselves to upskill a little bit and show that they got some output with it, it's like winning so many points. So I relate it back to, you guys would remember too, like when Figma was brand new, even pre-Figma, there was Adobe, and then we kind of maybe went to Sketch or InVision, and then Figma came along, and we were hiring for designers like ideally has Figma experience. And you were kind of like, okay, I got this designer, they're really good in Adobe because that's what's been out for years. And they did this one little project in Figma, so they're kind of getting their head around it. That's pretty good. I just think it's the next iteration of that.
Yeah.
You'd never find a designer today and be like, do you use Figma? Like, of course.
Yeah, right. I think certain companies have a certain level, like they have different levels of maturity and how they use AI on the inside.
Yeah.
But even the ones that are looking at AI as being like an aspirational thing that they want to kind of use more in their process will look at candidates and be like, well, maybe we don't need somebody to be like that expert. Not that anybody is an expert, but we just want to know that they're curious.
Yeah.
Right? Like we want to know that they're like, they know that this is the cutting edge. They know this is table stakes. And so they're getting in there, they're getting their hands dirty, they're experimenting, they're playing, like just like making themselves more marketable. So I think that's just really sending them good signals of like, oh, they have that natural curiosity that's
Mm-hmm.
going to then be applicable across many other parts of their job and their function within that company. So
Totally.
again, nobody's expecting anybody to be an expert. Like
No,
nobody's an expert yet, right?
no.
Which I think is an incredibly exciting
This is the
time, right?
best time
It's
to be
like,
a beginner. Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, I'm going to date myself here, but back in the late 90s when I got involved in tech, nobody really knew what design was. Like people would use like, Quark or like Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
Like, these are like
Yeah.
old school programs, and people just kind of like bluff their way into these design jobs at these startups, these .coms, and they learn on the job. And then now they're like the grandfathers and the grandmothers
Yeah.
like of the industry. Like they're the thought leaders because they just kind of saw that opportunity and jumped in and did it. So I think we're in a very similar place, which is really a great opportunity for people that are hungry and want to jump in.
Yeah. Yeah. Lean into your curiosity and play with it. It's it's warranted, it's regarded, I think.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
shines through big time. I
Yeah.
see a quick question here from Monica around any thoughts on why the market might be seeing an uptake. That's an awesome question. I think real quick, things I've noticed is just companies feel that design is going to be the big differentiator
Yeah.
for them, or they're knowing it. I think you see, and you'll always see this where sometimes earlier stage companies maybe don't even fully know what a designer does or what, but they see that there's these other companies, these aspirational bigger companies that are doing well, and they lean heavily on design. So, oh, geez, maybe we need one of those. So there's an element of that.
It's corporate greed.
Corporate greed.
It's
money. It's all money.
It's money.
And actually, to that point, Jared, that's true because we're working with two clients right now. There's a dog focused late stage startup, and then we're also working with another late stage startup. So they're both about 1,000 people, and the other one is like an HR tech benefits payroll provider. So B2C. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I do this every single time.
Oh, that's all right. Maybe you need to fast a bit more, and then you'll be on. Then you'll be on track.
I lost it, but I'll come back to it. I'm sorry. I do this every time.
That's okay.
Every time. It's just guaranteed to happen once.
It'll come around.
Yeah, it'll come around.
What do you think, Erica? I feel like you're in the thick of some design hiring, especially earlier stage companies. You spend a lot of time with them.
I mean, it's cyclical, right? Like this happened in 2021. Like there was a massive uptick for design. I think now we've got these tools. So companies are recognizing, wow, we need someone with amazing taste. We need somebody with these skills. And even like what you just said is kind of doing some of the engineering work. So I'm curious, are they hiring engineers still if you can push code forward yourself? But yeah, I mean, I think that I'm just corporate greed. Honestly, I think that one company is doing really well. Everyone follows the leader, and that's kind of what happens. It's similar with layoffs, right? One goes down, the rest goes down too. So, and I think someone also asked in here too, like, are we seeing design leadership uptick too? I think yes. I think last year or whenever the layoffs started and everyone was like a heavy super IC, let's just have player coaches leading the teams. I mean, that's a huge issue, right? Like, I think those ICs, yes, they can do that, but they don't really want to do those mid-year reviews. That's not really their thing. I think everyone needs to have leadership. And I think finally that is coming back. I do think people need that guidance.
Yeah. And I remember what I was going to say, and that completely ties into what you just said. So yay, got it.
Yay.
Both of those companies that I described, they hired their first ever VPs of design like about a year ago.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like even in some of them, it was like they were going to have like a head of design or director of product design role open. But because design was such a big part of their growth, so to your point, Jared, they hired VPs of design. And that is because these companies are growing. They're on this great trajectory. Design is going to be such an integral part of that growth.
Yeah.
And having people actually adopt their products and use them and be delighted and be excited and help them like grow even more. So I think that's also a really nice sign.
Yeah. Yep. They're investing in it. And that just drives that growth. I think that demand is only getting higher.
Yeah.
On the design leadership front, I feel like it goes hand in hand. If there's an uptick of individual contributors being hired, they always need a leader to go with that. Obviously, it's a bit of a triangle, but I think the shape of a design leader is changing, and the kind of skill sets that they've got and the kinds of things that they can do and what they bring. That player coach thing, there's like still an element of that, but I think as this tooling gets better with AI, with the taste and quality and sweating the details, you hear all these things get said. I think it's on that design leader to be close enough to the work that they really can influence it. I think there's been a swath of design leaders out there in previous years and previous decade that, they get so far up there that they're so far away from the work, and miles from it, miles from just kind of understanding, having an opinion, driving maybe a taste level. And I do feel like there is a little bit of a pendulum swing there on design leadership, where you still might be expected to manage a sizable team. You probably even managing managers at that VP level. But I feel like company leadership, CEO, C-suite, those people that design might ultimately report into, they're still expecting their design leader to have a really strong opinion on the aesthetic, on the style, on the craft, to uplift it, to bring it. And I think that those design leaders, the best way to kind of get that is to do as well. And maybe that's not in the job per se, day to day. They're not shipping work. But I'll say I spoke with some design leaders here recently who very senior levels, and they don't have a ton of time to do the work per se, but they're finding somewhere in there to be as skilled as their team on AI tooling. Because they feel it's like, hey, my team is really onto this, and it's my job to kind of ensure that we have this high bar. I kind of need to be onto it as well. And that, I think that comes back to the curiosity DNA, this desire to always kind of be keeping up and driving oneself. And design leaders, I think they need to keep up in that regard too now.
Well, right. They have to have credibility with their team, and they also have to inspire their team too, right?
Yeah.
It's like if the team is looking at this person's portfolio and it's less than inspiring, how can they be encouraged to do their best work? So yes, also seeing a very big emphasis on not only design leaders having beautifully crafted portfolios, but also really across the board, like with all of design, not just design leadership, but really, IC level roles, mid, senior, lead, including for roles that are maybe more B2B or SaaS focused. Like there's a real push for like kind of consumer level experiences within the B2B or even internal tooling space. So I feel like portfolios that are tending to go over well are ones where there's a good amount of visual signal that this person can do visual UI. Doesn't have to be from scratch. You don't have to be like a branding person or like come up through graphic design necessarily, but somebody who really has that taste and that level of craft that even if they're using a design system to bring in that visual design, that they can do that really well.
A lot. You've really got to kind of show that you've got a good handle on it, I think. And I spoke to a designer this morning who I think has had a phenomenal career and worked at great places and really liked their work. And he was kind of the first to me. He said, oh, maybe not that designer that's doing like this mind-blowing, flashy stuff. My personal style, he was saying it's a bit more minimal, it's more subdued, but it still was so clean and so neat, the aesthetic. And I still think it doesn't, sometimes we say visual and people think, oh, I'm just not a flashy designer. And I want to remind it doesn't have to be flashy to be visually great. It has to, it functions well. It is clean. It's inarguably a beautiful representation of just, it doesn't have more than it needs. Maybe it is minimal, but you can still be that way without having to be over the top flashy, I think.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I was repping a gal who's a design ops leader. So she's not even designing anymore. She came out of that. But her portfolio was gorgeous and she didn't have any screens to show. It was just her use of typography and color and like white space and just the composition of it all. It was just so beautifully done. It's
Mhm.
like, wow, this person is obviously sending so many signals that like they understand like the very basics and fundamentals of design and can put together something beautiful, even if there isn't any like work there. You know, there's
Yeah,
numbers and metrics and all the things that are snazzy that people want to see. But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
that's such a great point. Designers know better than us. Like, design can make you feel a way.
Hmm.
There is so much to it, and the same goes for your portfolio or your deck. Make people feel good looking at it. You can, even in a neat and minimal way, it can actually make the person feel good that's looking at it. So,
Mhm.
What do you
And I think
guys?
sometimes people that are like wanting to go into, sorry, people that want to go into management or they are
mm,
managers are like, well, if I have this really beautiful portfolio full of beautiful work, how do I get across that I'm actually a leader and that I manage and that I'm not just an IC? And I always tell people like, hey, like maybe you can have a section of your portfolio that's like my management philosophies, my management
yeah,
successes, and actually have a segment in there. Because it's kind of like
Yeah.
if you're swinging for the fences and you want that, or you do that and you want to continue to do that, that has to have some real estate in your portfolio
mm,
to like have that be in the person who's looking at your works consciousness of like, oh, this person is brand, like they're self-branding as a
mm,
leader, and I'm understanding like what they're, how they operate as a leader, like they're saying
Yeah.
leadershipy things.
yeah,
So I think that can be a good way to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What were you gonna say,
What do you
Erica?
guys? Oh, I was just
Yeah.
gonna ask about like portfolios.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm seeing a really big uptick in Framer right now, but
Oh yeah.
do you guys have a
Hmm.
specific, I don't know, what would you say? We've talked about this before, but I'm
Hmm.
curious now, is there anything that Shopify likes to see, for example?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm never I'd never have a preference with it, and I think a lot of the team doesn't either necessarily, whether it's Framer or Vercel or Webflow, or
Yeah.
I don't think that matters too much. I think what matters is first, is it like clean, neat? Like, what are
Yeah.
you putting front and center there? The work itself, what am I seeing there? And then I will say a lot of the design leaders in the crew here that look for that taste, they'll want to see a personal project or two. So I think the thing with something like Framer or Webflow or one of those, like, there's a lot of great templates out there for those products, and they give you a really great starting point.
Yeah.
But you want to put your flavor on it. If you take a template exactly off the shelf, which
Hmm.
there are many that look really clean, and then you just plug in your content, your case studies, and change the name, the next designer that applies to the job as well could have the exact same template
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
same font and the same layout. And yes, the content itself is different. And that's where I think those products are great, but put your spin on it. Like, give me your flavor, find a way to manipulate it, to change the template, to tweak it to your style. Because otherwise, I see three that are all the same. It's really hard to like one over the other, because it's sort of like, I want to know your flavor.
Yeah.
I want to know
Hmm.
your taste.
Totally.
I think we ask
So
too much of people though.
I think we do. I think it's a
Like,
lot. I've got, I'm definitely going to ruffle some feathers potentially internally, but the chief design officer at Shopify made a comment about how designers present their work internally. And it used to be you would create a presentation, you'd create a deck, you'd present and pitch, here's my idea, whatever, and you'd get buy-in from the business, and you'd hopefully go off and do that project. And one of the comments was like, hey, we don't need to do that. Like, show a working prototype, show the ideation. Like, it can be a little bit more raw and rough, but using the tooling, we can actually see. It doesn't have to be the final perfect polished thing,
yeah.
which is often what a deck is kind of showing. And I'm like, why don't we do that for portfolios then?
Right.
So,
Mm, mm.
Mm.
Well, I think they do want to see how the sausage is made oftentimes. Like they don't want to
mm,
just see the like snazzy visuals. Like
yeah,
they want to see like your process and your storytelling
yeah.
skills and that kind of thing too. But
Mm,
I think we were also saying too, what I've seen a couple of people doing is that they're taking older designs that they've done and sort of
okay.
reimagining them with some of these AI tools today.
mm,
Um, to show like, that they're testing and they're trying and they're
Mm,
experimenting, right? Versus just like, thinking of something at night to to do. But I think that's kind of interesting and helpful.
mm,
mm,
mm.
mm.
Yeah. Do you have a preferred like format or portfolio? Like, is there anything that jumps out to you, Erica, when, you know?
I honestly, I don't know. I've seen some pretty good decks lately, I will
Yeah.
say. I think those are pretty attractive.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone's is different.
Yeah.
So,
Figma
And when you
slide.
say deck, are you talking about like a
like a
Figma portfolio, like
Figma,
a presentation?
something, which I will
Mm.
say sometimes I get confused and I'm like, how do I restart this Figma thing? Because I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have Figma on my computer. It's
Okay.
also it's like seven
Yeah.
years old. But I do appreciate that because I feel like everyone sets it up differently. I always recommend to
Hmm.
have kind of like a hello and then like a who are
Yeah.
you, like a couple photos of like
Yeah.
who are you outside of work,
Yeah.
warming up the
Personality.
viewer to sort of
I love
see what
that.
kind of work you have. And then we've talked about like teaser decks before. And I
Hmm.
think what I see a lot is people trying to put everything they've ever done, ever,
Mm.
because there's always going to be one hiring manager who's like, well, what did you do 10 years ago? I think you should have like an older deck for that or something, or I don't know why. But I do feel like people are putting every project ever, and even like in the process of one project, like every part of it. And, we go through and I'm like, I'm not reading this. No one's reading this.
Mm.
I can't see
Hmm.
it. Like, I literally have to, like, zoom into this screen.
Hmm.
So it's really like the story. It's like, I don't know, cliche, the storytelling, but that's kind of like what keeps
Yeah.
me reading. And it's really clear. A lot of these hiring managers I'm talking to, they're like, oh, it's just really easy to understand like what the problem was.
Mm.
So just keeping
Hmm.
it really, go back to what KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
Hmm.
like the first thing we learn in advertising.
Well, especially for UX designers too, it's like they want to know
Yeah.
that you can make the complex simple. So if your
Hmm.
portfolio is like complex and people can't get through it, then it's like that's the whole function of UX design,
Yeah.
right? It's like, can you
Yeah.
self-edit, right? Like nobody, I
Yeah.
mean, as far as from the work that we do with our clients, like clients tend not to be interested in work that's over maybe 6 or 7 years old,
Yeah.
it just doesn't tend to age very well. Sometimes, if it's like a super top snazzy brand, maybe it has aged well. Um,
I think it
but
also, yeah, I think what some people do this because that should be the stuff that you talk about in the interview, right? Like you should have maybe a deck for like the more in-depth part,
Mm.
yeah,
um, versus because we're just, no one's reading. I'm just gonna be honest, like we're not reading
Yeah.
it,
No.
but we
yeah,
do want to see the process.
yeah. I think the recruiter that we had on from Duolingo was talking about that.
Yeah.
It's like you
Hmm.
have that kind of teaser portfolio that you
Mm.
send out. It's like the first outreach. It's very kind of like screen based, very visual, some
Yeah.
storytelling. But then when you're actually doing your case study presentation as a part of the interview rounds, then you'd have something more fleshed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I wanted to
Yeah.
address, so Yana in the
Yeah.
chat, mixed messaging. Initially, I had the kind of portfolio Joanne just described, no screens, but beautifully done. I got feedback from the hiring manager that while I clearly have design skills, I won't get far without examples of work. Another example is a variety of advice about following up on applications with messages. So the first part of that, so I think if you are, so the example that I gave was for a design ops person whose job
Mm.
it is to do the operations part of
Mm.
design, not to design screens. So that's why that portfolio made sense, right? But
Mm.
if you are a designer, absolutely, you have to show screens. You have to show your work. I always say it's really nice to have a hero image of like the final product first. So it's like you can see like, ooh, it's like, what you were saying earlier, Jared, like how that emotional connection to the work and
Mm.
makes me feel a certain way. It's like, oh, this is really nice looking. How did it get made? And then that's more of the storytelling of the case study.
Yeah.
And then also Erica, I think you said something about like, there's so much stuff on the page. I've been seeing a lot of portfolios where the screen design is so small, like they're trying to pack
Mm.
so much in. So they're showing like 3 screens next to each other, but feedback we constantly get from clients is like, I can't see it.
Mm.
Like, I
Yeah.
want to see the actual pixels. Like I want to see like what's happening. Because otherwise it's sort of a mealy mash. And
Yeah.
kind of get a sense of the design, but not really. But since your design is what you do, it's like really important to put that front and center. So
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify that.
No,
That's a good
totally.
point. There isn't a perfect portfolio for every single
Yeah. You're not
company
gonna
and
please
role.
everyone.
It,
Mhm.
it just doesn't exist. I think it's important to take in certain information that will help that could be like table stakes as well, like things within your control. But at a certain point too, you'll share your work with someone and they won't get it. It won't resonate. They'll say, I don't see this or that. I don't. But then you could take that exact same thing and put it in front of someone else and they really do. Oh, I like this. Hey, you should come and interview with us. Like, there's no perfect thing. I think that is part of the selection process to an extent, where you put your spin and some of your personality and you're injecting that into your portfolio, it will hopefully resonate with the person that you want to meet and the company that you want to be part of, and it will get the effect and get you in that room and start that. And those ones where it's not working, maybe it's just not the place, and that might be okay as well. Like it's very, I don't think there's such thing as a perfect one. My experience as a recruiter at times too is like doing my best to screen, but I'll always say, I'll share things with a design leader or, that hiring manager, and I'll say, I'm not sure about this one. I'd love to get your take on it. Or sometimes I try not to even really say anything. I don't want to bias it. I just put, just because I'm not seeing it doesn't mean it's not it. I'm trying to critique it based on parameters I've been given against a brief. But I'm also not like the be all end all judge of like, this is not tasteful. It's like, well,
it's
I've got an idea and opinion, but maybe it's not it. Okay. Personally, I don't love that style, but that's okay. You're allowed to have that color in there. That's not, you don't lose marks for that.
Oh my God.
It still goes.
I know. We just made a placement with a candidate not that long ago that we almost didn't send in, because we're kind of like, we're just not really sure. But we've just learned through doing this for so long that we're like, if we're on the fence, it's not our job to necessarily make that decision for the client. Send them in, see what happens. Yeah. It was like a perfect match. It was the portfolio, but it was also the vibe and the personality and the kind of, kind of the resonance of the mission with this person. Yeah. There's so many other things too that go into a fit. It's not just, I know we're talking a lot about portfolios and it is important for a designer, but there's lots of other things too that make a difference, right? Like staying in your jobs long-term. I've been meeting or kind of seeing a lot of people that are like, okay, I'm skipping from job to job every year. Makes you a little unhireable after a while, right? So it's like, instead of, and sometimes it's, you got laid off and it's not your fault.
Unavoidable.
You have a lot of string of those sorts of things. You might want to mention it in your resume, like, role ended because of, company-wide riff in this year, or, 25% of the company was riffed or whatever it might be. So it doesn't seem like you were singled out. But that might be another way of just kind of getting around that. But yeah, there's more to it than just that.
Always. Monica asks real quick, as recruiters, how would you feel about visual heavy but no process portfolio teasers? Love them. It's all good. If the visuals are good and I get enough of a little signal of kind of what you did too, if I have zero context, it's a bit hard to go off, but I'm okay. If these things,
I think you could definitely do like visual heavy, no process in the teaser. I don't think your teaser should be longer than 15 slides, to be honest. I think we talked about like 12.
It just
but
gets
I think
you in
if
the room.
you do it, you should have like some sort of like metric too, like that this increased
what did you do?
This was
right.
What am I looking at? Like
versus like the flows before that.
Exactly.
And I'm seeing more and more like, okay, maybe you meet with a recruiter first, and then maybe the next chat is with the design leader or the hiring manager. I'm seeing in that very first round, right from the get-go, like many times screen sharing and bringing up work. So you're maybe, that hiring manager say, oh, what sort of stuff have you been working on? Oh, let me show you. I'll bring up some of my stuff, like take you through a little bit of that. So you're immediately, it's not a portfolio presentation per se, but it is like an informal version, and you're digging in deeper on the work. So already the teaser has kind of served the purpose, and then it's moved out, and now you're going deeper. So those stages are happening really quick. So that teaser I think is totally fine if it gets you in the room, because you're going to be very quickly elaborating on it anyway. No one gets hired off of a teaser, but you get in the room so you can tell the rest of the story.
Yeah. And Richard Scott is asking, is it possible to speak more to a portfolio teaser? So I think what we're describing here is that oftentimes people have two different versions of their portfolio. One is the teaser, which maybe isn't going as in depth with the case studies of all the process and the storytelling as much. And then, so that's kind of like, hey,
Like
here's my
highlight.
work, and kind of like a sort of dropping the handkerchief kind of way. Like, is this interesting enough for us to have a conversation? And then like the main portfolio is going to have probably at least 2 or 3 case studies, probably at least 3, I would say. That's my personal choice or my personal opinion, that describes more about the process, how you went, what were the metrics, the success metrics, although that should definitely be in the teaser as well. So it's just, and that could actually be the same. So for me, I think I might feel a little bit differently than you guys about like a portfolio that's only visuals. To me, if I see that, I actually think of that as being pretty old school. So that's usually what I used to see when people are only visual UI designers, and there really isn't a market or a very big market for people that do that now. So I feel like anybody who's hireable now needs to show some degree of UX thinking, a process, of some sort of research involved. So in the teaser, so the teaser, again, could be the same thing. You don't have to have 2 separate portfolios. I just want to make that clear. If your teaser is your longer case studies and it's 2 or 3 of those, and you're showing lots of visuals and screens through that, that's totally fine. You don't have to do more work and make the teaser. Sometimes the teaser can just be like a way to, like, if you have your bigger case studies, you can pull out some screens, a little bit of process, definitely your metrics, your success metrics, a little bit about your collaboration, because collaboration is king. Everybody wants to know how you collaborate, if you collaborate, maybe some stories around collaboration, if it's brief. So I hope that makes it a little clearer.
I think it's for also people who might have just like a lot of projects, right? Like you choose kind of the more recent ones and put a few slides in, right? Like a, great metric here and that. And yes, I think someone asked PDF. It could be, it's definitely something that you email like a hiring manager or share or say, hey, I just applied to this role. Like here's also whatever, like here's this. But if you have so many projects and you don't want to have a 75-page PDF deck, because I'm telling you, no one's going through that. That's kind of what I mean a little bit there.
Yeah, I hear. Makes total sense. There you go.
And actually, you just touched on something that I saw as an earlier question, which is, what is our feeling on people dropping a message along to the hiring manager once you send in your application? I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's even like super plus brownie points if you can say something really specific about that person, because everybody's an individual. Everybody wants to be seen. Even hiring managers, I think it's easy to think of them as like, oh, there's this faceless entity. They're part of this company, which is faceless. Like they have power over me. I want their job. But like, think of the hiring manager as a person and have empathy for them. And they want to be seen and acknowledged and heard too. So the more you can kind of be like, hey, like I saw that we went to the same school, or I see that we know so-and-so in common, or just something that's like, took the time to research them and they feel seen and appreciated, and that you're kind of in it to win it, and that you're taking the time to do that, I think is a really powerful way that's a powerful thing to include in that follow-up.
Read some of their posts. If they're posting, if they're active on LinkedIn and they've talked about their car that they're building, Jared, mention something. I mean, I know that something like that would make me smile.
Personalized, totally. I will say usually gets my attention if someone mentions something a bit more personalized. When they reach out, it's, oh, okay, cool, thank you. And
it's like, they're a real person, and it's not just some sort of like automated bot too, right? Which is like now becoming a differentiating factor, right?
Totally. Dave asks, colors, what are you talking about? We don't know either. Black's a color, that's my favorite. So is it, right?
Same.
Love that. I know, Zach, you're firing in a ton of questions. I can't keep up.
What else? I don't know.
Yeah, feel free to grab any. All in all, I think it's a really exciting time for design. I really do. I feel optimistic and positive about the opportunity for designers. I think it's a real evolution time of just this toolkit and the tooling and the way that designing is done. There is absolutely no chance that AI is taking the role of a designer. No, I don't think that's even up for debate in a way. No one really believes that. Design leadership companies employing designers and teams of design, they know it's not possible. That's not how it works. But the way a designer works, what they need to bring to the table, the skill set that they've got, it's evolving a little bit, but it's to still be that designer. And even as the tools improve, even as Figma Make generating screens is a mess, but it's going to get better and better. That's the whole point of what people do. There's still so much room that a human needs to be in there to create a product that another human uses. So it's just, as designers, just keeping up with that skill set, keeping up with that craft. Anyone with a profession, for the most part, has to keep up with a craft. So,
and remember what happened at Duolingo when they laid off a bunch of their people, thinking like, oh, the bots are going to do it. And then there were so many 1-star reviews. People got so upset. A lot of people were like, I'm deleting my app and I have a 3-year run.
No, my streak.
Yeah, the streak is over.
Yeah, it was your streak.
Oh my gosh, I'm not aware of this. I haven't used the app in forever. Yeah, okay.
No, that was a big deal. There was something else too recently.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I read this morning that Fiverr
big layoff
just did a massive layoff to do AI.
Oh, wow.
That'll be interesting.
Okay, well, we're still seeing it out there, but for the design side of things, for all intents and purposes of this unfiltered chat, I do think it's a good time for design, and it's an opportunity to do great work, find companies that need designers, whether it's large or small or startup or contract, or there just is demand for it. I just am seeing it across every shape, form, size, scale. So
yeah. And I think there's also like somebody posted on LinkedIn about, there's an ad in the airport where it says, our customer experience people or our customer service people are real people. It's
a selling point
proposition, right? So it's like being a human and bringing that empathy and bringing that ability to like synthesize research and make decisions around design and being strategic. Like I think those skills are becoming even more at a prime level, right? So I think those are great things to lean into.
Absolutely. Yeah. At the end of the day, people hire people as well. When you're in these interview processes, when you're meeting teams, be yourself, bring yourself, find the people that you connect with big time.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. We're going to keep things going on this, obviously, through to the end of the year with every couple of weeks, but we love having guests on. We love having people come and speak and join us. Other experts, more expert than us, in various fields. So if you have a suggestion, if you have an idea, if there's someone you'd like to hear from, if there's even like a particular profession you think might be helpful in your journey as a designer, we will find those types of people. We'll have them on. We've had other internal recruiters, like myself now. We've had career coaches. We've had company CEOs, founders,
product leaders,
all of this to try and give the audience these perspective, angles, insights, all this information that we want to know. It's like, let's get the source here. Let's ask them and let's hear it once and for all if we can.
Yes.
So, if there's anyone you want to hear from or
nominate.
Please. Just drop us a note. We're all on LinkedIn. You can DM us anytime. We do have a Design Unfiltered LinkedIn, which you can follow. That's where we post these.
Yeah, and you can even put the person's name if you want to tag them like in this. So this will be posted on our Design Unfiltered LinkedIn page. So if you want to like reply in that chat and let us know, tag us so we can see it.
Yep, drop it in anytime. Yeah, however you want to get to us, you can. But yeah, we're excited to bring some more guests and just be here for our community, talk about this stuff. I'm so eager to share. I'm on a journey. We're all on our journeys at the moment of what we're doing work-wise. So let's make it work for ourselves.
Cheers.
Yeah. It was so great to see everybody again. So thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Nice to see some names we've seen a lot before, and nice to see new people too. So we're going strong into the fall. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Same bat time, same bat station.
You know it. Awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.